So we've just had a meeting at the architect. First of all, though, apologies for doing it in my van, but I just thought while everything's fresh in my head, I'd just do a quick video really. So just had a meeting with the architect on one of our properties on site. Just spent about 50 minutes really with him, which is good. We've worked with him a couple of times before, and it's quite good because a spade is a spade, and I believe that I can trust him so far anyway. It's all been good. Now, before I get into the full nuts and bolts though, about 80% of the people don't subscribe to the channel, so please make sure you've subscribed to this channel. Do me a favour, please. That would massively help. Anyway, yes, so spoke to the architect. Originally, obviously I met him there because I've got things in the back of my mind that we could do with the property. For those of you that didn't catch the short earlier on that I put out or any of the socials, it's an end townhouse. So it's got a garden to three sides. It's got detached garage at the back. And we've had it in our portfolio now coming up to 20 years, which is obviously really good. But I've always knew that there was potential there with it, which is one of the things that always attracted me to it. So yeah, my initial conversation was, could we have another dwelling built on the side of this house? He said he can't see any problems with it, which is fantastic. We seem to have got enough room, obviously going out for width-wise. We seem to have got enough room at the front of the house and the back of the house, or the front of the house and the back of the new house, should I say. Considerations, he pointed out, like, you know, phone lines, they don't seem to be in the way. The drains are just off behind where we'd be building, so there don't seem to be anything... any problems with that he could see. And again, he's honest. He says, from looking at this and from when I've done other things, I can't really see there being a problem. However, we would need to fill out certain reports and so on. He said possibly as well, maybe, and I suppose this is boxing clever really. Again, apologies for the camera moving. I should have my little stand in here, but it's in the other car. From there, we could possibly go for a planning application on the existing house, obviously to build at the side, the gable end. And if that went through, obviously that get the extension, we could say it's going to be for 3 bedrooms and another couple of reception rooms downstairs. He said if that goes through, then we could just change it at some point. I can't remember the correct terminology he used, to say, right, well, we decided not to go for an extension to this house. We are still going to go for the build, but it's going to be a completely separate dwelling. Here are the certain things that we're going to do. Other things on my notes here again, so I would always make notes, definitely. Don't be expecting to try and keep everything in your head. So other ideas, yes, so that was the main thing. So we could go ahead with it. Timelines and so on, you're looking at about 8 weeks approximately for pre-planning if we were to go down the pre-planning route. If though we weren't, like I said, we could just meet with the highways, and they'd just, you know, have a look at our proposal and we could take it a step further forward there. Hopefully they'd say they'd have no objections. What else really? The build out, it said probably, you know, because it's only going to be 3 walls, because obviously we're using the existing gable end wall of our property. So he said because it's only 3 walls, it should go up a little bit quicker. Again, I had sort of time frames in my mind, but he was looking at about, you know, 12 weeks-ish, just over 3 months. And then obviously you've got the fit out inside really, so it could possibly be watertight within 12 weeks, which would be good. And yeah, it was mentioning other options. Again, we've done this before in a couple of hours, you know, maybe just going out and putting a single-storey extension on via permitted development. So with that one, we could go back, for anybody that doesn't know permitted development, for a single story we could go back out 3 meters, which is fantastic. However, is the return on investment worth it for a rental? Not really, okay, at this stage where we're at with that one. Could we convert upstairs into a second floor, really, the dormer, you know, like have a box dormer at the back? He said yes, we could do that. You're probably looking at about 35-40k for that. What would be gaming? We might lose one of the smallest bedroom downstairs, but then upstairs we'll be gaining possibly 2 doubles, or at least a double and another bigger room than the one we'll be losing. That would then create a 4-bed, 4 decent sized bedrooms. Again, it's always what I tell my mentees, pounds, shillings and pence all the time. Okay, so of course we could drop 40,000 into that property. The value might only creep up by 30, you might 40. So really your money's just in that property. Again, it's better in there than in the bank, but it's always, especially for us, we're looking at that return on capital employed. So imagine if you were to drop 40 in that, and then increase the rent by £200 a month. So you look at that then, £200 times 12, so that's 2,400 additional cash flow each month over the 40 you've dropped in. You know, it's not really a massive return on your money. However, it's better than what the banks are paying. So yeah, apologies again for the wobbly effects of this. I'm trying my best to hold it. Yeah, I've mentioned about conditions, drawings, and so on. And it's good also to have a look at the property, because I haven't been up here for a good, it's probably about 6 or 7 months really. Some of the fence panels on the side of the property need replacing. Now on the inventory that the managing agents do, it's all internals. So I'm going to politely mention to them that on the next inventory, please can they take pictures of the fencing, because nothing gets better on its own. It needs to be continually maintained and repaired, so we need to get on with that. So yeah, I hope this helped somebody. So if you've got a property now at the moment and you're thinking, you know, it's got a big plot of land, I mean, the options you've got available, you know, title split and then maybe sell off the plot of land. If I was to do that, I've never done that though, because I always want to try and keep hold of stuff. If I was to do that, because I've known other fellow investors do it, they get planning permission first, then obviously split, so that they could sell the land with with a planning permission, because then the value definitely goes up once you've got that planning permission. And just make sure if you're ever in that market buying land with planning permission, make sure the planning permission is still in date. The fact that it might have expired, you've still got a high chance of getting it back through, because once it was approved, but I'd want to be making sure that I'm crossing the T's and dotting the I's before I purchased it, definitely. Good luck. Keep taking steps further forward. And again, stay in your own lane. You don't need to be looking, you know, following everybody. Well, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do SA. I'm going to do HMO. Well, I've heard somebody is doing amazing in, you know, whatever boring vanilla buy-to-lets. You stick to your strategy, stick to your goals, and don't fall for shiny penny syndrome, okay? Stick to something, and I suppose like Hormozy says, do enough volume and work at it long enough so that failure, you know, the chance of it are very, very low, but yet the chance of success are very, very high. So again, apologies again for the wobbly video. Just keep taking steps further forward, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel. It would massively help. All the best, everybody. Take care.